So I have to get asked the question, what's a really good plant for breeding fish, or just a very easy, versatile plant that is just generally doesn't require a lot to take care of? And my one answer always is water sprite lace. What's going on, guys? Justin from Main Show Plants, and today we're talking about water sprite lace. It's a super versatile, easy aquarium plant that really anybody can grow in their tanks. Doesn't require a whole lot of light, doesn't require CO2, doesn't really require any substrate at all because it's actually able to be floated and planted, so it has a nice versatile feel to it, and it could even attach to rocks and driftwood as well. So it's a very easy, all-around beginner-friendly plant. Now let's take a look at what water sprite lace actually looks like, and that's this plant here. Now, water sprite lace also is named Indian fern or water Indian fern or Indian water fern. It has a couple different names. There's also a slightly different variation to this plant where it's just regular water sprite, and it has much thicker leaves. Now, if you look, the leaves on this are very fine. They're very tiny, and this makes it a perfect plant for when breeding fish or shrimp because it allows them to have places to graze on, and the more this plant grows, the more the leaves kind of intertangle with each other and create dense mats of plant matter, almost like a spawning mop or something along those lines. So it's in the family of ferns, much like Java fern and like bulbitis, so it could be attached to rocks and driftwood. It has a very kind of weak root structure as well, so when planting it, if you plant it into substrate, it doesn't actually develop a huge root system. It's a very delicate root system, so if you kind of go by it and tug the plant, it will easily become uprooted, so you may not want to do that. It can also be floated, so if when you take it out of the pot, you can just kind of rest it on the top of your water and just leave it there, and it will float and grow and continuously put off new shoots as well as possibly new baby plants. And while we're on the topic of baby plants, let's talk about how the plant propagates. So it's actually a very easy to propagate plant. As you can see here, this right here was an old leaf that kind of fell off a plant that we had in our tanks. And now you can see new tiny baby leaves coming off of that from right there. You see new tiny baby leaves forming. And that's how the plant propagates. It actually will propagate from existing plant matter in the aquarium and just put off new baby plants. So when you have a plant like water sprite lace and you get it in, and in case you got it from us, it may have broken during shipping, because that can happen. It's a delicate plant as well. If a leaf breaks, all you have to do is kind of just let it float in your aquarium. As long as it doesn't turn completely brown or black, it will still produce offshoots and new babies, and therefore you'll be having a ton of them in no time. So pH or temperature doesn't matter much when it comes to this plant. Nutrients, you do want a decent amount of nutrients in the aquarium, but that could also be substituted by you feeding your fish. It could be enough there, but this plant will absorb a lot of nutrients just because it grows super fast. That's probably the only downside to this plant. Once it becomes established and you have it growing, it is going to grow incredibly fast. So you are going to need to prune it or trim it probably every week once it becomes really established in your aquarium and you have a lot of it. Now that may be a bad problem to have. A lot of people may say, I'd love it if a plant can grow super fast in my aquarium. That may be excellent. And the plant can get rather large. So it can be used in a nanoscape. I actually have it in the tank behind me here. It looks pretty good in here, but eventually it will get big, so I'll have to trim it down and really get it more compact. But it can go all the way up to, say, a 75-gallon. It could get really large. Maybe even bigger than that. So it's a really, really versatile plant when it comes to everything. Lighting, doesn't need a whole lot of light. CO2 doesn't matter. So these are all like things that make this plant just one of the most perfect aquarium plants for a beginner. You may also run into the issue with it growing so fast and maybe shading other plants, so just keep that in mind. I would trim it and keep it, properly pruned as much as possible. But guys, that's really it. Water sprite, it's a super simple plant. There's not a whole lot to discuss with it. It's very easy. You can either keep it planted, floated, or attached to things. You could tie it to things. Just don't damage the overall root structure and you should be good to go. Leave me a comment down below if you like water sprite lace, if you have it in your aquarium, or what's your favorite kind of breeding plant or your favorite versatile plant that you could use in a lot of different situations. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new here, you could click the round button to subscribe. If you want to check out our last video that we did on trimming aquarium plants, you could click right there. And if you want to check out the video that we did on wabikusas, you could click right there. And we'll see you guys next time.